Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the first in a series of Opto webinars on why Groov EPIC was developed and what problems it can help solve for you in your automation, controls, and industrial Internet of Things applications. My name is Benson Hoagland, and I'll be your moderator for today's webinar. Joining me in studio are Garrick Reichert and Kyle Orman, two of our senior application engineers who help customers every day applying Opto 22 products to solve automation problems. Garrick and Kyle, welcome. Please tell our audience a little bit about yourselves.
Yeah, thank you, Benson. My name's Kyle Orman. I've been here at Opto a few years, and I've been in automation and controls for more than 10 years now, whether that's commissioning, testing, and designing units.
I'm Garrick Reichert. I'm new to Opto, but not new to automation. Been doing it a long time. And I'm excited to talk to you today about why EPIC should be your next install.
Terrific. Thanks, guys. Okay, we've got a lot to cover in the next 40 or so minutes, and we'll start by telling you a little bit about Opto, followed by the problems we see with existing systems today. Then we'll provide a hands-on look at the Groov EPIC hardware, followed by a live demo of the Groov managed software, which will illustrate just how easy it is to work with EPIC. Now, for those of you viewing this webinar that are new to Opto 22, here's a brief overview. We're a California-based, privately held industrial automation manufacturer and software developer with over 4 decades of experience and thousands of customers all over the world. Our products range from simple solid-state relays to versatile industrial Internet of Things systems. Now, we've earned a reputation in our industry for highly reliable, mission-critical solutions backed by exceptional warranties and top-shelf support. But what makes us unique is our engineering philosophy for combining technologies from both IT and OT into an affordable and capable system that can be applied to your projects, saving time, money, and effort. Now, over the years, we've amassed a huge list of customers, both large and small, from all over the globe in many different industries. And the industries we serve are very broad, from manufacturing to process control to buildings, utilities, even water, wastewater, and of course, OEM equipment. And our customers love our open architecture approach with our products, and especially love our free support with plenty of tools, documents, software, services, and more, all at no additional charge. And our customers also benefit from our recently launched Opto Training Portal offering. This has free online training any time of day or night on most of our products, including the Groov EPIC we'll be showing you today. So let's get to the meat of this webinar. Why did we develop Groov EPIC? Well, the short answer is the complexity, cost, and maintainability of the existing systems you find today. These old systems are just too difficult to put together, and so much time is spent trying to get them configured, commissioned, and placed online, all while continuously dealing with major roadblocks like networking, security, software licenses, PCs, and much more. Indeed, we wanted to build a system that is simpler, more secure, and much easier to build, deploy, and maintain than anything else on the market. And I think we've done it. And here to tell you all about it is Garrick and Kyle to actually show you how cool the new Groov EPIC system is and why it'll help you in your applications. Now, I'll pass the presentation control over to Garrick and Kyle, where these two will demonstrate Groov EPIC live.
All right, thank you, Benson. The first thing we're going to do is step through some of the hardware for Groov EPIC and show you why we added some cool new features.
Yeah, we'll start with the chassis. It is a slot chassis system. Comes in 4, 8, or 16 slots. It is stainless steel, DIN rail mountable, so it'll go right in your panel there, snap right in place. Real nice chassis there. Standard power supply here, on-off switch. It's fused, nice plug. Comes in AC, DC, and a 12-volt pass-through power supply. So suited for any application you might have, but the pride and joy here is the controller. It's like a controller and a smartphone combined. It's got a full color touchscreen, hinge door that opens, and as you can see, more of the features in here. It is a dual gigabit Ethernet solution there. They're isolated as well. 2 USB ports. You could use those to plug in, say, a mouse, keyboard, USB to serial device, or a nice little Wi-Fi dongle like this to give you Wi-Fi right out of your controller. It also has a built-in HDMI port that you could use to cast externally to a monitor. So when you hide this in the panel, you can still see all your screens and everything without having to open the door. We've got a full suite of I/O, digital, analog, specialty, including the serial module. It's a hinged cover. It's really good. Light up LEDs on front there. So let's put this thing together here real quick. So we'll start with getting our chassis. Throw down our power supply.
You can see each part snaps into place and is held in place by a single screw. So with that single screw, you can take modules in and out very easily. They're even hot swappable. We'll show you how that works here in just a minute.
It's also a simple hinged cover here with a nice little single connector. They're all the same, so it's a good 26 point connector. Snaps right in, and you can close the lid right. Well, as you see, we can't close the lid here, but we've thought of that. We hinged the cover, slotted it so that it can hinge out. So you can hide that wiring if you use bulky wire. The chassis and PLC system is Class 1 Div 2 rated, and the temperature rating is -20 to 70 C. So this thing can take a lot of abuse and keep on ticking.
Yeah, that's even for the touchscreen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so yeah, thank you, Garrick. We're also going to show you, what it's like to actually use a Groov EPIC. So you see what the hardware looks like, and over here, I think you can see the touchscreen and how great this whole thing looks. And I'm going to log right in. So anytime you connect to Groov EPIC in any way, it's going to ask for a username and a password. So what that means is it's a secure connection. So someone can't just walk up and fiddle with anything, mess up any of your settings and your configurations directly from the touchscreen. They need that username and password to access these things.
Mm-hmm.
So you saw how I use the touchscreen to log in, and if you set up a new Groov EPIC, the first thing it's going to ask you to do is create that username and password. And then the next thing that you're going to do, which all of us are familiar with, the past 15 years or so, we've been using Ethernet-based controllers, is the IP address. And that can be a nightmare depending on the product, but definitely not with Groov EPIC. Let's go to System and Network here.
Oh yeah, it can be a pain in the behind when you do it with some platforms.
Yeah, so you'll have to use boot P is a popular one, or maybe it has a default IP address. You have to look up in a manual. You might need online internet access, to pull up that manual. But with Groov EPIC, it works by DHCP. So that means that when you plug it into your Ethernet network at your work or your office, wherever, it's going to be automatically assigned an IP address, and the IT department likes that. That's how a lot of devices on the network work. And but that's not how a lot of controllers work. So that's a nice connection to IT that they'll like.
Yeah, it kind of bridges that gap between OT and IT a little more, makes it a little more friendly for the IT department to get on board with using these.
Yeah, so you can see on the front of the controller here, it's been given an IP address through DHCP because we had that Ethernet 0 out of the box comes DHCP capable. But Ethernet 1 there, while it's disconnected, there's nothing connected. You can see the method there is static. So if I go under configure, you can see that it's set up for a static IP, which is a lot of us are very familiar with. That's how a lot of control systems set up. So you might use Ethernet port 0 on your IT network just to have an IP address automatically assigned by your IT department, and then Ethernet 1 to go out to your control network to talk to other devices that have that static IP network that you've set up yourself. So those are completely isolated, but Groov EPIC is going to talk to both of them. And then there's even another option where you can use a Wi-Fi dongle. You can see here that I've set up a Wi-Fi connection, which is this dongle right here, the same one that Garrick's holding in his hand. And I've set it up actually to connect to the hotspot on my phone. So there's a lot of features on Groov EPIC that may require, especially Node-RED. You want that outbound internet connection to download new nodes to make it, more functional and add a lot of great things to it. And you need that outbound internet access. But if you're in a place where you don't have that, maybe you don't even have it through your IT department, you can temporarily connect it to a hotspot in your phone, go out and download those files that you need because they're not real big. A Node-RED node is not an enormous file to download, so it's totally reasonable to do it over a hotspot. And then from there, now your controller has outbound internet access. You're going to do those updates, download those things you need to do, and then you can just disconnect it and walk away, and you're still going to be on your your DHCP or your manual setup and have that disconnected. So a lot of great networking features that make everything easier. So you've seen how great the touchscreen works. Log in, set up a username and password, and then also set up your IT network part. So I'm going to jump over to my browser to show you what Groove Manage looks like.
There's one other thing I'd like to mention there is the host name. We
Oh,
can actually
absolutely.
access this via host name, not just IP address.
Right.
So as you'll see when Kyle is on the browser, he will type in the host name of it instead of the IP address.
Yeah, thank you, Garrick. I skipped over that part. So with that DHCP, the IP address is assigned, but we also have a host name here. So that means that we can connect by just the name of the controller, which is what one thing you're gonna want to do if you're capable of doing that through your network, because it makes things a lot easier. So now I am going to switch over my browser and connect to it via the host name. So here we are at the Opto 22 homepage, and I'm going to go to HTTPS.
I see that S there. So we're using a secure login there, encrypted. So another level of security along with having a username and a role given out with the password.
Right. Every connection to Epic is encrypted. So you're always going to go over HTTPS. So again, the same username and password I used to log in to the front of the touchscreen, I used to log in through the host name through it's Google Chrome here on a web browser. So you're seeing the same screen from Groove Manage, access to a lot of the same information.
Mm-hmm. You can access it from any device, any tablet, smartphone, the front of the panel, any PC, because it's all browser based.
And I mentioned that username and password a few times. So under accounts is where that's set up. You can see that there's a system-wide administrator account set up. That's the first one you're always going to set up. But there's also other types of accounts you can set up that do different things. There's an operator account here, and I'm going to go ahead and add another one. So I'm going to call this one kiosk account because a kiosk is one of the settings that you can set up for a user. So you might want to set out a Groov EPIC, maybe connected to an HDMI touchscreen that people just look at information. They want to collect information, but you don't want them to change anything. So you could set up a kiosk account. You go down here to Groov View, and you make it just a kiosk user. So now all they can do is see the Groov View pages, and that's it. They can switch from one page to the next, but they can actually change any information.
Why don't you pull that back up, Kyle?
Yeah, sure.
All the different roles we have from editor, operator, kiosk, and none. So this will let you dole out your permissions to users as you see them. Some people will need to be editing. Some people will just need to be able to operate the view screens and not make any changes. And the kiosk, where they can just look at a nice public clean terminal anyone can see, but we can't actually mess with.
Right. So, and it's not just for Groov View, it's for Node-RED, the REST API, and all the different pieces and parts you can access in the Groov EPIC. You can set up different users and the requirements. So there, I've just set up. Oh, I got to type that.
You got to type it in twice the first time.
There we go. Sorry. So I've set up 2 users. Now I have a kiosk, an operator, and then a system admin user that has access to the entire system, and we can do a lot of different things with.
There's also underneath there was email. So you could type in an email and tie that to a user account. You can use that to send alerts and everything via email or text. So you have your phone carrying it around. You can have real-time response to all your alerts and help troubleshooting, help you get to the problem quicker, see what the problem is, and generally just speed it up.
Yeah, we'll dive into that in the Groov View webinar where you set up those alerts and those email notifications.
Yeah.
So some more information that we have built into Groov here. I'm going to go into info and help, and then documentation. So there's a lot of documents that come installed on Groov. So these are links here, which make you think it's going out to the internet. I'm going to click on the product guide, and you see it opens up that PDF file, but that's actually from the file system on the Groov. So it's not going out to the internet. You don't have to download this from anywhere. Right here on the Groov, through just a browser connected, you can see all the information about Groov EPIC that is available on our website as well.
Yeah, I see it also contains all the I/O, analog, digital, specialty, all the data sheets. Great for troubleshooting. pull them right up on the front of the panel from any web browser. You don't need to be looking on a website to try and find the manual because you lost it, or printing it out and keeping them in a dirty panel that, you know, gets oil and grease on them and you can't see it. So this is right here, one-stop shop for you.
Right, right. And so, I mean, you can imagine how useful those files might be. You know, anytime you're accessing the system, they're all right there for you.
Yeah, another feature we have under that info and help
Mhm.
is our Opto support. It's a secure client-initiated system for us to log in and help you troubleshoot your system if we're having problems. See, the client, the customer, the end user will tell them, they will click the create RSC. It will generate a one-time token that we can then use to remote in, and it's like being right on your machine. Helps us for troubleshooting and gets you back up and running ASAP, because we know downtime, it's a killer in the plant and on the OEM level too. You got to get those machines out the door. So this helps us troubleshoot your end without having to go through a back and forth email exchange with some screenshots and questionable questions like that we just can't, aren't really getting to the point. We can get right on, directly to it. And then when it's done, you close it and we have no way to get back in, completely secure. And you get a hold of myself or Kyle or some of our product support team. They can also help you with this.
Yeah, and it's really easy to use from our end. You just initialize the connection, and we accept it, and then now we're connected to your controller, and we can see everything that you see, which saves a lot of time, and also can if you're not as confident with what you're doing, or maybe some of the less skilled users, they can get that detailed product support right away. So that's some of the stuff that's built into Groov that already comes on there, but you might want to put some of your own information on there. So I'm in here in the systems area of Groov Manage and go to files. So you can see there's secured and unsecured files that are accessed by the different pieces of software that are installed in Groov EPIC. And in the unsecured files here, which is if you were to read and write some files from your control engine, for example, you might add some things here. And we have a few files saved to this controller. So what that means is this readme.txt, for example, is just a text file that's saved here on the controller, and I can open it up right there in the web browser. Now, and this comes with no files installed on it at all. You can put your own things on there.
Yeah, any documentation you might have, your panel drawings, P&IDs, anything that you need that'll help troubleshoot, and you're not having to dig for files and dig for drawings that are printed out. You got it. You can get it right here. Access it, open it, there, update new ones, add new ones, and really gives you a great tool to help troubleshoot and just keep your efficiency up when you're working.
And even through your, like, for example, in Pack Control, you can write to a file. So you could come to this area here and open up a log that you're saving from your control engine to see what's happening where, if that's something you want to review. And you can even download it, do whatever you need to from there.
Oh, another useful thing for that, cut sheets.
Yeah.
Being an integrator and having building panels and stuffing every cut sheet for every part you have in that panel pocket gets a little bulky.
Yeah, when I do integration, we would have binders that literally 1,000+ pages of cut sheets, and you could put one large PDF file on there to cover all those spaces, because nobody ever looks at it. But they have to be there, so you can put them there and make sure that they're covered.
Well, now that we have all those files, Kyle, and in system settings we've set up, we need to back these things up. So let's go into maintenance and let's do a backup. As you can see, the backup has got everything. We can pick and choose, or we can back it all up at once. So that allows us to be very flexible with what we want to back up, with how we want to back it up, and everything. So then you can just download the backup real easy. And then after you do your update, or God forbid you have an outage and something goes wrong and you need to restore it, you just click in restore it, and you can do the same thing. You can restore it piecemeal, or you can restore it all at once. So that's a real handy feature for picking and choosing what you need, because maybe you just made a change to your networking setting and it broke it, but you had the correct one on the old one, and you don't want to back up or you don't want to restore everything else. You can just pick that, boom. So another quick way to itemize and solve these little problems here that sometimes with other systems can take hours to do.
Right. Yeah. So, and it comes out as a zip file, and so not just something catastrophic. If you're copying a system, if you're an OEM and you have, these replicated Groov EPIC systems, it's easy to make them all the same. So the some other things you can access from Groov Manage here. One of them is the control engine. you can look at the serial devices. So I'm gonna go down here to serial devices. We can see there's not one connected, but like we said, the modules are completely hot swappable. So there, I took out that digital module, and I'm gonna put in a serial module while the controller's running.
See the light will go red.
Briefly, all the lights flash, now it's blue. So we have a serial module connected, and I didn't even have to refresh the screen. All the information came up right there in Groov Manage.
I instantly picked it up, shows you the port numbers of them, the device address there. So if you need to access it, be anything else, right up in your screen.
Yep. So in your control strategy and Node Red or wherever else you're using these serial modules, that's where you're going to get that information. So now that we've connected the serial module here, you can see that it popped up on the front of the touchscreen, and it's also blinking to tell you that's a module we've had selected. I'm going to go to the widescreen so you can see that a little bit better. So now we're on the front of the Groov EPIC, and we're pulling up module information about the serial module we just connected. Now, if we want to know something about a different module, all we have to do
is just press the touch sensitive buttons at the top and you can get right in. You can see live data of what's going on. Click on the information tab there and it'll show you the drawings and the wiring diagram for it for just that card. So you'll know how to hook it up. And then there's the specifications and details of it.
Yeah, and the wiring diagrams, the specs, all that stuff's useful. Like for wiring, for example, you can see exactly how your device, whatever it is supposed to connect to those spring clamp terminals that are right there in the front of the module. And from specs, again, that documentation that's already saved on the controller, we can look at that information for every module you have connected right here in the front of the touchscreen. And go all the way to the bottom here, and you can see those agency approvals that are really important to some industries, whether that's Class 1 Div 2 or ATEX, but also there is a warranty. So this module has a lifetime warranty, as do almost all the I/O modules for Groov EPIC. So that's really great. It's a brand new product right out of the box, guaranteed for life. It's easy for us to say because they don't really fail very often.
Oh yeah, very reliable. We've got old hardware out in the field that we just get calls about now. That's been out there 30 plus years.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't expect to hear many of those warranty calls. So it's easy for us to say, but it gives you some confidence that it's going to last quite a while.
And you can tell which card we have selected because the blue light for that card is blinking. So as you cycle through the cards, the light of which card is highlighted will be selected there.
So I'm going to go back to channels here, and Garrick alluded to this earlier, but also you can see the name of this channel. So the panel LED red. I go back here and press this button. You can see a little kind of on the edge there. It's turning red, and that output's turning on. So what that means is from the front right here, you can toggle an output on or off. So I'm gonna go down here to 13, and we're not using in the control strategy at all, but I can toggle that output point and turn it on. So imagine how useful that could be from a commissioning standpoint. If you have a system out there in the field, you're turning things on and off. Typically, you would have to have a laptop connected, and go in there and turn those bits on and off, however that system might do it. And with Groov EPIC, you don't need that at all. And you could even use your cell phone to do it.
Oh yeah, you can use your cell phone to commission. So we've sped up that process as well. So now not only are we saving time to do that, but we can save manpower. One guy can go on site to commission something, take his cell phone, pull up the screen right here, and I can toggle the same things off and on. So I could walk around by myself in a plant floor and toggle all my outputs and check all of that wiring from my phone, flag all the inputs. I don't need a second person. And I don't need all the time it takes to do that. I do it by myself on the first day because we saw how quick we can set this thing up. We just cut our commissioning time. Geez, I would say half, but it's more than half probably.
Yeah, and also, a lot of money spent commissioning. I was a commissioning engineer for years, and I would be at the terminal or wherever it is we're controlling the system from, turning things on and off, be on a radio with a technician, walking around to jail to tell when an audio output turns on. If I had Groov EPIC, I could have walked around with my cell phone, just turned the things on and off myself, and save myself that manpower. That would have been great.
Oh yeah, great commissioning tools there. And then you're not sitting on a bucket too in the corner on your laptop,
right?
Talking to some guy on a radio trying to get this commissioned.
Yeah. So there's a million great features built into the I/O portion of Groov Manage. Whether that's system information, documents, all that kind of good stuff. But Groov Manage is also a window into the system in a lot of other ways. And And one of those ways is through Groov View. So I'm gonna actually, from the front of this touchscreen, first thing I'm gonna do is connect to Groov View and show you some screens there. Oh, there it's launching now. So this is gonna build up some Groov View screens we have built here for the demo center. And I'm also gonna share the big screen here to show you how those things are pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah, it's made for mobile. It's lightweight, so it can display really well on mobile, as you can see from the front of the Epic. But it also, since it's browser-based and web-based, very nice and neat, and shows up really well on a PC as well. So you can see the differences in the screen, but they are the same.
Yeah, so we're looking at the touch screen on the front of the Groov EPIC has this Groov View screen for the mobile version, which is basically a portrait version, so to speak, and then the desktop has your landscape version. But these are the same screen, interacting at the same time. I'm turning that red LED on, and it's showing that in both places, and the lights turning on, all that kind of good stuff. Speed up or slow down the light rain. So yeah, so from Groov Manage, you can go straight into Groov View.
You'll notice at the top there's a bunch of extra buttons there that we have added that are there to highlight the extra features that we have within the Epic system. And we'll be covering those in depth in future webinars. You'll see that there's Node-RED, SSH shell access, so you can pretty much do whatever you want to it and make it run.
Right. Yeah, so there's so many features built into Groov EPIC, and hopefully we've showed you a little bit about the hardware and Groov Manage and how to use some of those tools. And this certainly hasn't been comprehensive. There's even more there that we didn't get into, and we'll show you more of those things in future webinars. So we're going to hand it back over to Benson, and thank you everybody for joining us. We had a great time, and
we look forward to talking to you in the future.
Okay, Kyle and Garrick, that was one terrific demo. Well done. It's no question that Groov EPIC has a lot of capabilities, a lot of configuration, and it's clear by all the presentation materials you guys provided in the demos that it indeed does solve a lot of problems that exist with existing systems today. So thank you very much for showing that. And of course, I think I can speak for everyone that we're very eager to participate and view your future webinars on all the software capabilities of Groov EPIC as well. So folks, stay tuned for more information on when the next series of the webinar will be available. Check your email, and we look forward to presenting more of this material over the next several months. With that, we'll sign off on the first of a series of webinars on why Groov EPIC. Thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to presenting more materials to you in the future.